And there came a day unlike... Wait, no, that's been done. Who knows what evil lurks in... No, that is that other thing. What has yellow skin and rights? Ah, forget it. You're listening to Panelology. Excelsi, oh damn it.
Welcome to Panelology Talks July 2021 Solicitations. I'm Alex.
And I am Brian.
How's it going, Brian?
It's going okay. We're getting there.
We are. Ever closer to the second half of 2021. What?
Yeah.
I don't understand the flow of time anymore, Brian.
I don't know. As we record this, I go to get my second shot tomorrow, so things are indeed proceeding.
Yes, very good.
Yeah.
Then you get to enjoy that weird 2-week period where you're like, will these 2 weeks just pass? Which is the closest in my adult life I have ever felt like a kid counting down to Christmas.
Fair enough. Like,
it's not like
I can go do things.
And it's not like I'm doing demonstrably
right,
more.
no.
It's literally, then I can walk into the comic shop and go buy groceries in the daylight, like not a vampire.
Like not a vampire. Very nice.
Yeah. So it's a fun little waiting period there.
Yeah, indeed.
But I don't think anyone is here to hear us talk about that.
No, they want to hear us talk about the future.
The future. The future is, well, not now.
No,
the future
July.
is July. And we're going to start with Aftershock. We have 2 books from Aftershock this month. Brian,
yes,
tell me about Beyond the Breach, #1.
Yeah, this is a new book by Ed Brisson. One of my favorites. I love Ed Brisson. Art is by Damien Cusero. I'm going to go with that name. Pardons if I slightly mispronounce. But yeah, this is about... This is a new kind of post-apocalyptic. Somebody is going on a journey, and then something they call the breach occurs, and California is thrown into a nightmare world. And this person Vanessa kind of finds a new family in this dystopian fantasy thing kind of that's happening, and then they have to get home. Or try to get home, or find a new home, or whatever all that entails.
Nice.
Yeah.
How about Clans of Bellari, #1?
Yeah, now this was, from just a solicitation standpoint, a little bit more interesting. So this is Rob Blackie and Peter Blackie. And if you don't know, they are the creators and writers for Netflix's series Frontier, which is pretty cool. They're going to be writing this, and then the art on this is Daniel Main, and this is an isolated sect of humans on a distant planet who have incredibly strict, like almost like a caste system, where there are different clans, and like clans do not mix, and clans only do the job that they are, that they do. There's been some YA stuff, and that has this kind of theme, but this seems even more strict than that.
Gotcha.
And when an external threat to this society shows up, the question is then, what do you do in a society that doesn't ever mix or come together when you need to come together to defeat this external threat?
That's a great question, huh?
Sounds like something I wouldn't mind reading about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Over at Ahoy Comics, we have what I am realizing as I think about saying these words out loud is a pun. Blacksmith, #1.
Indeed.
This follows Janie Strummer Jones. To quote the solicitation text, just an ordinary werewolf PI in LA. When a case falls into her lap, it's up to her and her assistant to figure out how many silver bullets were used and where do silver bullets come from anyway. Maybe from a blacksmith.
Yeah.
See, I told you it was a pun.
I know.
This is written by Eric Palicki, with art by Wendell Cavalcanti, and covers by Liana Kangas, who I mentioned because I dig her work. And Ahoy puts out some fun stuff, so very excited for this.
Yeah, this sounded like a clever little thing.
Yeah, Werewolf PI is a strong enough hook just on its own, I think.
There you go.
Over at Boom, we have Mamo #1, which is written and drawn by Sauce Millage. I don't actually know Sauce Millage's work, but the cover looked really cool. I really like their art style. So I am definitely here to try this. Also, Boom's been knocking it out of the park lately.
Boom has been amazing.
So this is about the youngest in a long line of hedge witches named Orla O'Reilly, who gets pulled back to her hometown after the death of her grandmother, Mamo, and has to sort of bridge the relationship between the townsfolk and the Fae and deal with things like the seas becoming impossible to fish and the crops having soured and someone's attic being haunted by a poltergeist because Mamo's not there to keep bridging this gap. So some fun magic, some legacy, maybe kind of like a YA vibe. Boom puts at the end of all their solicitations, this is for fans of blank and blank.
Yeah.
The two books this name drops are The Last Witch and Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Oh boy. Man, Last Witch. I love that book.
Yeah. And then it ends on the idea that this is dealing with questions of how we reconcile our responsibilities with our dreams for our own future. The second of our two Boom books for July is Dark Blood #1.
Yeah.
You want to tell me about that, Brian? This is on my list too.
Yeah, this is being written by LaToya Morgan, and the artist is Walt Barna. LaToya Morgan is a writer for she wrote some stuff for Walking Dead and also Into the Badlands, which
cool.
If you haven't watched Into the Badlands, that's a pretty cool little show.
I've heard a lot of good about it. I have not gotten to check it out yet.
Yeah. And this is a story about the question that they pose is, what if you had the power to change the course of history? And this is an alternate history book where in Alabama in 1955, there is a young black man who, went to World War II, fought, came home, got a job, provide for his family, like all of those things that somebody in the 50s should do. But something happens and he begins to gain abilities. And as it describes it, he begins to gain abilities at a time when someone of his ethnic background is not, people don't want him to have power of any kind. So the question is, what do you do with that?
Yeah, it almost has, just at a very like setup level, kind of a Lovecraft Country vibe.
It does, yeah. Like there's, I think I really get the feeling there's going to be more than this than just that premise of a man of color in the 50s gets powers, right?
Well, and again, Boom makes these comparisons to other books.
Yep.
Department of Truth and Bitterroot.
Yes.
Which I'm not sure you could pick two books I love more. Maybe another combination of two I love as much, but those are two of the best books coming out right now. Like, if they're comparing it to those,
yep,
something's got to be right.
Yeah.
Moving over to Dark Horse, I was surprised this wasn't on your list. I'm guessing you probably just missed it, because it is, I believe this is an original graphic novel. I haven't seen this series solicited at all. I think it was just announced this week.
You got me curious now. I'm going to have to go back and look at it.
It is a horror comic.
Okay.
Written by Magdalene Visaggio.
Oh, I did miss that.
With art by Andrea Muti. Called Cold Bodies. It is a meta-horror homage a 1980s meta horror homage, focusing how trauma affects victims of slashers and never leaves decades later. It follows a woman named Denise Stokes, who was the only survivor of the Winterman massacre, in which several young adults were slaughtered by a powerful blizzard in Wisconsin. In the present day, the world around her is obsessed with these murders. There is a popular film franchise called Snow Day that is responsible for that. And the anniversary of the killings is approaching. So that's sort of the setup for where this woman finds herself.
And if you've ever seen a sequel horror film, anniversaries of bad horror events are not good things.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I'm very excited for this. I think there have been like just a couple of panels teased on Twitter. It looks super cool.
Yeah.
Over at DC, a book that we talked about an episode or two ago existing. Superman, Son of Kal-El #1. This is written by, I don't know, some guy named Tom Taylor.
Tom Taylor, whoever that is.
That's that guy who did Batman, right?
Sure.
Batman the Detective, out now. With art by John Timms.
Yeah.
Brian, tell me about this book.
So this is, if you've read Legion of Superheroes or pretty much any of the stuff that Tom Taylor had Jonathan Kent in, that involved him dealing with the Legion of Superheroes, you know that they have always been rather coy about the fact that there is some event that happens, back in John's native time, that they won't reveal anything about to him.
Right.
And signs are starting to show that it may be approaching soon. And of course, that I'm sure that's what this is going to deal with.
Yeah, we know a little bit here, right? We've seen some of this set up in Superman and Action Comics.
We have.
And we know that Philip Kennedy Johnson, who's been knocking it out of the park, is staying on Action and continuing to follow Clark there.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm super excited to have Tom Taylor on this book. I love the way he writes Jonathan in Deceased.
I do too.
And I think this is going to be truly spectacular.
Yeah, I'm quite excited about this. As if that's not enough, we also get a backup sale called the Tales of Metropolis, which is going to involve Jimmy Olsen, and he's putting together a band of misfits, which includes Gangbuster and Ambush Bug.
Yeah, this is continuing the backup that we've seen playing out in Superman, starting back in March.
Yep, exactly.
Then we have a book that I'm just so excited for.
Oh my god.
Superman and the Authority, #1 of 4, written by Grant Morrison with art by Mikel Hanin.
I cannot wait for this. This just gives me tingles thinking about it.
It's going to be incredible. This is where I have committed the bad podcasting sin of, I didn't read the solicitation. I saw the book and the creative team, and that's it.
Yeah. I think it's enough to just say that Clark Kent seeks out Manchester Black, and that's pretty much all you got to know right there.
Expressly to form an all-new Authority.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. I am going to mention one other thing here. The Ultra Humanite is apparently the bad guy here, forming his own team to take down Superman.
Yes.
I am always here for some Ultra Humanite shenanigans. How about that Batman Catwoman special, Brian?
This is some new upstart named Tom King is writing that, and I don't even need to say it. Like it's more Batman Catwoman from Tom King.
Yeah,
just get it and be happy. Art, by the way, is by John Paul Leon. So
the late John Paul Leon.
Yeah,
which was some sad news this past week.
Very definitely.
Also at DC, we have a new horror imprint, which, my take on it is this, right? We had Vertigo, and Vertigo kind of went away. We got Black Label. All the imprints folded into Black Label. And I think probably between sort of that restructuring of their imprints, and then also the restructuring we saw after AT&T laid off a lot of people, the restructuring we saw that led to Marie Javins coming in as editor-in-chief, this feels like a point where maybe they're starting to expand a little bit and bring some of those projects back, or start doing those kind of projects again. So DC Horror is a new imprint from DC. I imagine still under Black Label, if I had to guess.
I would guess so, but yeah.
And its first release, so far the only release it has announced, is a tie-in to The Conjuring 3 called The Conjuring the Lover, number 1 and number 2.
Yeah, and this is actually written by David L. Johnson McGoldrick and Rex Ogle. So, you know, it definitely has the chops to be something really, really terrifying, quite honestly. And by the way, the main story art is by Gary Brown. But yeah, this is a girl who super ordinary. She is going back to the second half of her freshman year at college. And, you know, didn't have great grades her first semester, and, you know, had a relationship with a boy that, you know, maybe she's not necessarily happy she decided to have, and, you know, just like normal kinds of college things. And as it describes it, realizes that she has been targeted by evil. That just that just sticks you right in the oh no. Yeah,
that'll be very cool.
I think so.
Something we have talked about a while, I feel like I've been waiting on a while, a lot of people feel that way, announced back at DC Fandom last year, originally actually announced as digital first, and then a trade collection after that. Then they changed those plans, so it's going to be same day physical release and digital release.
Yep.
A pair of series. The first is, I'm talking about their milestone imprint. The first is Static, Season 1. Written by Vita Ayala. Layouts by Chris Cross. Finishes by Nicholas Draper Ivey. I think we have made very clear how much we love Vita Ayala and their work.
Indeed.
They are an incredible choice for this book. And the couple of teases we've gotten in that Milestone Returns one-shot have me so excited for what we're going to get here. I think Nicholas Draper Ivey is probably a newer name for a lot of people. I mean, Chris Cross has been around for forever. He's an original Milestone founder, worked on original Static Shock, as I understand. Nicholas Draper Ivey, I followed on Twitter as soon as he was announced for this project, because when they announced the project, they showed a lot of his character designs.
Mm-hmm.
This guy's incredible. His art is gorgeous. I'd read the book on Vita Ayala's name alone, but this guy is a powerhouse and is gonna be everywhere. I'm not sure there is another book this year I am more excited for than this book.
Very cool.
And it's worth noting, the July solicitations mention issue number 1 will be out in June. June 15th.
Yeah, I think my guess would be they were able to pull this forward a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, I think the print release was always gonna, well, yeah, I think they've had to do some shuffling.
Right, that's kind of my point, right? Yeah.
Then the July issue will be out July 20th. Super excited for this. It's been a long time since we've had Milestone in DC. We haven't had a Static comic since the beginning of the New 52. Definitely, like, if you grew up on the cartoon or even are curious, I'd say check this one out, because it deserves support. The other Milestone book in July is Icon and Rocket. These are characters I don't know as well. Really, most of what I know from that Milestone Returns preview. It's written by Reginald Hudlin, who's one of the original Milestone guys, and also has done a lot of TV and film work. You probably don't realize how everywhere Reginald Hudlin is. I was rewatching Psych last year, and he's directed episodes of Psych.
There you
go. He's worked in film and TV. He's written Black Panther. He's been everywhere. Art is by Doug Braithwaite, who's a recognizable name in comics. Inks by Andrew Curry. The general setup here, if you're not familiar, and again, I wasn't either. Icon is an alien named Arnis who was stranded on Earth and has given up on returning home. He's also realized Earth is beyond saving, so he kind of just is biding his time wasting away in Margaritaville, by which I mean on Earth. And then a young woman named Raquel Evan shows up in his life. She's, I believe, one of his neighbors. Finds out he's an alien, becomes his sidekick Rocket, and in this story, the two of them set off after she asks the question, why can't we do something about the drugs on my corner? And end up in this globe-trotting adventure chased by threats both terrestrial and extraterrestrial. The little taste of this in Milestone Returns made me so excited for what this series could be. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Excellent. It sounds very, very cool.
I know I'm kind of gushing about these books based on just a little bit, but these are series that a lot of people are excited for, and I'm pretty sure as long as I've been reading comics, well, two things. One, as long as I've been reading comics, there have been calls for why is there not more of this? But also this Milestone relaunch has been going on in the works in one way, shape, or form for about 6 years now. This is something that's taken a while to get off the ground. And it's something they want to get right, because Dwayne McDuffie was also a big part of Milestone, and after he passed away about a decade ago, there was some question of whether or not it could even continue without him. So it's a big deal that this is coming back, and I think it's super exciting comic storytelling.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, in Gotham, they are bringing back the Batman Secret Files title, which we saw as some one-shots recently during the Tom King run.
Yep.
And are positioning each of these as one-shots about different characters. There are 2 announced in July. I believe we'll see more going on indefinitely through the future.
I would expect it.
But the first 2 of these are about Huntress and the Signal.
Yeah, Huntress is Helena Bertinelli. It's going to be written by Mariko Tamaki, which is I'm super excited about. And the art is David Lapham. And yeah, this is just hopefully a good Huntress story of her hunting down people that she kind of feels that maybe the Bat family hasn't really dealt with and need to be dealt with. That should be good. Yeah.
Then we have The Signal, which is written by Tony Patrick with art by Christian Deuce. And this is very much about Signal sort of finishing up his time on The Outsiders and returning to Gotham. Tony Patrick, I believe, was Scott Snyder's co-writer on the 3-issue Signal miniseries a couple of years back. That really established Duke as the Signal and explained his power set and sort of his role as the daytime protector of Gotham.
Right.
A status quo we haven't actually gotten to see explored much, so I'm glad we're finally going to get to see that pay off.
Third shift in Gotham, right?
Right. Burning that midday oil.
Exactly.
Okay, Brian.
Oh, yeah.
I actually didn't have this marked as on my list, even though it's in my notes.
Hell
I
was
rushing these show notes very much.
All I have to do is say the title, which is Blue and Gold #1. Everybody who is a DC fan of these characters already knows who it is.
Yes. Do you think this becomes the origin of Gold Beetle?
I can only dream that it is.
How can I sweeten the pot more, I wonder to myself. Dangle that over, Brian.
Yeah, I mean, you could have art by Ryan Sook. That would help.
Actually, that's a damn good answer, huh?
Yeah, and Dan Jurgens is going to be writing this. It's of course Booster Gold and Blue Beetle, and
yeah,
that's all I need.
8-issue miniseries.
Yes, can't wait.
How about Justice League Infinity #1?
This is written by J.M. DeMatteis and James Tucker, with art by Ethan Beavers. And this is kind of the idea is while there's somebody out wandering the universe searching for their true purpose. They don't tell us who it is, but while they're doing this, the weight and power of apocalypse comes to Earth, and the question that they pose is who can destroy the Justice League. So this is super big, bombastic, universe spanning threats, big Avengers Justice League story. And yeah.
Did we mention that this is in the continuity of Justice League and Justice League Unlimited?
I did not. We should do that, yeah.
Yeah, I think we're burying the lead a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
Well, our next book, Jim Neighbor's favorite, Shazam!
#1. Yes.
Yes. This is a mini-series, right? I put this in my list of stuff to buy. I didn't copy and paste this one.
Absolutely has. I did. It does not list it as oh no, I'm sorry, it does. 1 of 4. It is
okay.
Yeah, they do actually list it as I knew it was. I knew it had to be, but yeah.
This is, as we know, Shazam is a key figure in everything going on with Titans Academy.
Mm-hmm.
And the future of the DC universe that we saw in Future State. So this is putting Shazam in that spotlight, very much in that context.
Yeah, given where he's at right now in the DC universe, I'm super excited to hear more about how he, either what happens to him or how he gets in the position he's in or any of that.
Right. And I did not miss anything in DC, correct?
You did not. That's all. I mean, it was only like 12 books that we talked about from DC. But yeah.
Then let us turn our attention to IDW and Bermuda #1 of 4. John Layman is one of those writers. If he puts something out, I'll at least try the first issue. And he is writing Bermuda with art by Nick Bradshaw.
Mm-hmm.
This is about a young girl named Bermuda in this mysterious area of the Atlantic Ocean. I imagine it's triangular in shape.
Probably.
Where things go when they disappear. Not just into that area. The fiction here is that, or the concept here is that, anything that disappears ends up in the Bermuda Triangle.
I did see this, and something occurred to me when I read this about this book, and that is how prevalent or kind of in the zeitgeist of people is the Bermuda Triangle now.
That's a good question. I feel like it could easily be one of those things that has faded out.
I mean, it was huge when I was a kid.
I feel like it was a big part of cartoons when I was a kid, but I also watched a lot of older cartoons because my mother loved cartoons.
Yeah.
And we tended to watch a lot of Scooby-Doo from when she was a kid.
Oh, sure.
So I don't actually know. That's a great question.
Yeah. But like I said, it just occurred to me that I don't know how in the mindset people are for Bermuda Triangle now.
But Bermuda lives in the Triangle. She's 16 and scrappy, and to borrow the phrase from the Solicitation, living on this insane and wondrous jungle island. And then a new weird kid washes up on shore and drags her along on a perilous rescue mission.
I think what I love the most about this, I did read this, and honestly, I'm not sure why I didn't add it to my list. I probably should have. Is that it comes with the idea that she's on this crazy, insane place, right? And but that's all she knows. That's her home. And this kid who wants to rescue them both from from the lost Bermuda Triangle. Like that's like the most dangerous thing to her.
Yeah.
That just I love that kind of juxtaposition there.
That's super cool. Over at Image, the first book here is, yes, Brian?
I was gonna say I did see this, and I'm not sure. I very very much contemplated putting this. Mostly it's because I can't keep buying everything.
Yes, but it's only 3 issues.
Thanks, Alex.
You're welcome.
Damn it, backlog. No, this is
a
front logger, I guess.
Yeah, that's just a logger, my dude.
There you go.
The reason we are kind of surprised by this one is one of the writers on this book. This is co-written, and the concept is developed by Emilia Clarke, one Daenerys Targaryen.
Yeah.
With Isabel Richardson and Marguerite Bennett. Marguerite Bennett, like for most things, is going to make it an auto buy for us anyway. So I feel like you get kind of both sides of the coin here. You get the, all right, here is a cool human writing comics for the first time.
Yes.
Because I feel like Emilia Clarke is one of those people that the more you learn about her, the cooler she is. And then you've got Marguerite Bennett, who's like super dependable, reliable, a great writer. So like put the two of them together, and I feel like you're going to get something really cool.
I think you probably will. And this kind of sums up. We talked earlier about some of the horror stuff with DC and a couple of the other books that I love that comics and the industry is not afraid to let people from outside of the industry come in and do things. I think I think it's happening a lot right now, and I think that's really kind of exciting.
I do too.
Yeah.
I should name the artist on the book. The artist is Layla Lays. And this is I read an interview with Emilia Clarke about the ideas behind this, and basically like her brothers were super into comics and stuff, and she was not really allowed to be. Like, they would not let her go into the comic shop with them and participate in this. And so that sort of becomes this through line to this idea of like a mom who's a superhero in her spare time. I'm not sure we've said the name of the book yet. It's called MOM, Mother of Madness.
Yes.
There we go. We buried the lead again, Brian.
Number 1 of 3. We're really actually pretty good at that, but
we are.
We get around to it. We get to it. Yeah,
Look, we got excited. The Solicitation name drops Deadpool and Fleabag.
Yes.
As sort of touchstones for this.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds crazy.
Yeah. There are preview pages out there. The art looks super cool. I mean, at the very least, I think this is going to be something fun and different, but I would not be surprised if this really delivers, too.
Yeah. I bet I know something else you think is going to deliver, too.
I bet you do, since you're looking at the same show notes I am. That would be Chew number 6. I don't need to say a lot about this.
Nope.
The main reason I mention this is because this Chew series, CHU, about Tony Chew's sister Saffron, is being written basically in arcs annually. So we got 1 through 5 last year. It wrapped up. Instead of releasing like Chew 2, 2 Chewy, 2 Chew.
Now you're going straight into Dr. Seuss territory, man.
Pretty much. But somehow plausible for this book, which is just part of its charm. Instead of being a new series, it's just picking up with a number 6, kind of the same thing Wind is doing, right?
Very nice, yep.
So it's back, we get another 5-issue arc, and then it'll disappear like Brigadoon for another year. Brigatune.
Wow.
Tell me about Ordinary Gods, Brian, and I will shut up.
This is a new series from Kyle Higgins. That's exciting enough right there. The artist on this is Felipe Watanabe. So, super. It is described as for people who are fans of the Old Guard or God Country. So, like, they're pretty much front loading it with reasons to pay attention to it. But yeah, this is about 5 gods from a realm beyond our realm. They are described as the luminary, the prodigy, the brute, the trickster, the innovator. Uh, and, well, I guess I should say they were gods before they got trapped here on our planet and uh, are now in an endless cycle of kind of reincarnation. So think Wicked and Divine, but like trapped and don't want to be here anymore.
Wicked and Divine Space Alien Groundhog Day?
Sure, yeah, they're perfect. I love it. I love it. And we get a person his name is Christopher, who's 22, got parents, a younger sister, works at a paint store. Oh yeah, by the way, and he's one of these 5. So like it just sounds like a really really cool setup for a lot of character insight work, and I can't wait.
Nice. Over at Marvel, we have Amazing Fantasy number 1 of 5. This is written and drawn by Kari Andrews, and I think is a cool concept. It's a sort of out of time series where Black Widow, Spider-Man, and Captain America have to team up in an island of intrigue, fantasy, what have you. But they don't know, like, are they dead? Are they dreaming? Are they in a parallel reality? But here's the catch. These are sort of the most recognizable versions of each of these characters. It's Red Room Black Widow, teenage Peter Parker Spider-Man, and Cap from World War II era. So you get these sort of like
touchstone.
These sort of touchstone versions thrown together in this way you wouldn't normally get to see. Kari Andrews wrote and drew Iron Fist the Living Weapon, and then wrote the follow-up Iron Fists, which are actually 2 of my favorite Iron Fist books. I'm also the weirdo who mostly likes Spider-Man Reign. So I am very here for this.
Very good.
Speaking of Spider-Man.
Oh boy.
From Nick Spencer, we have Sinister War, number 1 and number 2 of 4.
Oh, see, I thought you were just going to say from Nick Spencer, we have so many spiders.
Nick Spencer.
All the spiders.
Nick Spencer has his eyes on Krakoa and is thinking, I can write this many issues by myself.
Make more spiders.
That was Dan Slott in Spider-Verse.
Fair enough. Yes.
So this is kind of like we actually saw with Spider-Verse, or like we've seen with Last Remnants ish. Where you have the Spider-Man issues, but you also have the event issues. In this case, the event issues are their own mini event series. This is about the war between the Savage Six, which is the Sinister Six equivalent we've seen so far in Nick Spencer's run, like the team who we saw the Vulture lead during the Craven story, versus the classic OG Doc Ock Sinister Six roster.
Yeah.
And these 2 teams are at war with each other. Brian, do you remember, and I'm reminding everyone of a called shot I made a long time ago now.
Yep.
Do you remember what I said when I read the first issue of Nick Spencer's Spider-Man run?
That he's going to bring back the Sinister Six and Spider-Man's going to have to be on one of them.
I was going to say that Spider-Man would join the Boomerang's Sinister Six?
Yeah.
I fully expect that to come to fruition over the course of this event.
I mean, at this point, you're 85% of the way home right now. So yeah,
right?
Yeah.
I mean, if I called
it's a much safer called shot now than it was then. I'll say that.
If I called this one 80 or so issues of comic early, though, that's going to be a new record for me.
Pretty good, sir. Pretty good.
For real, though, we have 10 issues of Spider-Man from Nick Spencer in 12 weeks. I do not understand how he writes this book at this pace.
Oh, my gosh.
Also, at Marvel, Brian,
Yes.
This, I think, will be a sleeper release. It's a title not a lot of people are familiar with.
I don't. I think it snuck up on a lot of people too. Yeah.
Well, there's really no media focus or presence on this book at all. Let's say the last 2 years.
Well, but I mean, it's one of those books that like it comes at the end of the alphabet, and like so, by that time people are just kind of
Yeah.
No, it's X-Men #1.
X-Men #1. Yeah.
Jerry Duggan, art Pepe Larraz, and I love how they phrased this in the solicitation.
Yeah.
I thought it was really. It's like, so I'll just read. Things might be complicated between the nation of Krakoa and the rest of the world, but to the X-Men, things are simple. You do what's right. You fight to protect the planet and keep people safe. That's it. And that's exactly pretty much what we saw Cyclops and Jean do with the council when they said, yeah, no, we just need to do what's right. Yeah, very excited.
That moment is the most I've ever liked Scott Summers, and I'm glad that that's the ethos going into this book.
Yeah.
And if you're sitting here wondering, but what about Jonathan Hickman? Jonathan Hickman has another X-Men book. I'm assuming that will get announced in August solicitations.
Yeah, because he's not doing anything with any X books. No, no, sure.
He's not going anywhere. One last Marvel title.
Yes.
We know I'm not excited about this. It's not one of my favorite Marvel characters.
Nope.
Moon Knight #1. Written by Jed MacKay. Art by Alessandro Cappuccio. This deals with Moon Knight sort of picking up the pieces of having betrayed and helped take down Khonshu. He is running the Midnight Mission and dealing with protecting the denizens of the night on his own.
I love this situation they've put Mark Spector in.
Yeah, and I think Jed MacKay's a really great pick to write this book.
I agree.
I think it was one of the episodes JD joined us for, but Jed MacKay wrote the King in Black Spider-Man one-shot. And I said then that, like, if that was his audition to be the next Spider-Man writer, as far as I'm concerned, when Nick Spencer is done, Jed MacKay can be next in line. And I feel like to write a good Moon Knight, you need a lot of the same skills you need to write a good Spider-Man. Like, there's a certain balance you have to have in not taking yourself too seriously.
Well, and it's very, very easy to go overboard. A lot like same thing with Daredevil, right? It's really easy to fall so deep into the pathos that you kind of lose people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm here for this. The little bit of art we've seen also looks fantastic.
Yeah.
Over at Titan, Horizon Zero Dawn, Liberation #1. This is another, I'm going to call it a miniseries. It's not solicited explicitly as a miniseries, but it does call it a second arc.
Yeah, it's definitely a miniseries.
Yeah. Maybe on that whole annual arc schedule that we've talked about already, but
sure.
Also, Horizon Forbidden West isn't going to be that long after this. Like, they're not going to release another one under the name Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah.
Like, just guessing. They even mention Horizon Forbidden West in the solicitation copy. But this one will follow Aloy and Erend. The first one didn't follow Aloy very much, so if you want some Aloy, here is where to get some Aloy.
Yeah, and you enjoyed the first one of these, didn't you?
I did. I really liked it. I'm blanking on the name of the character it followed. The head of the hunting lodge.
I know who you're talking about, but I can't. Yeah,
I'm blanking. But yeah, I really dug the first one. This is written by Ben McCaw and Ann Toole. The artist is Elmer Damaso. Ann Toole, I should mention, is one of the writers for the game. She also was one of the writers on the first Horizon Zero Dawn comic series, or first arc, however you want to call it. So, I think that's part of why it feels so much like the game. It's one of the writers.
Excellent.
Also from Titan, also video game related.
Yes.
Life is Strange, Coming Home #1.
Yeah, this is more Emma Viacelli, and the artists are Claudia Leonardi and Andrea Izzo. Um, the first two arcs of this, much like Horizon Zero Dawn, they're kind of doing these in short, bursty arcs. Were really really good. The first one in particular was a phenomenal kind of follow up to the game. And this is just kind of continuing that story. And they also mentioned that the game is getting a remaster. The original game is coming this fall,
Oh
so
yeah, that's right.
yeah. By the way, phenomenal game if you've never played it. Um, really, really cool. Great character work, and the comic feels just like the game. It is the characters are so good and so true to what you found there. So I loved it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Over at Valiant, Ninjak #1. Ninjak is one of those characters who I've always kind of wanted to get into, but just always have sort of missed the on ramp for.
Yep.
I feel like it's been a while since we've had a Ninjak series, so I'm gonna give this one a go. Also, I've had really good luck with Valiant the last couple of years.
There you go.
But on top of that, this is written by Jeff Parker with art by Javier Pulido.
Oh, well.
I love both of these guys. I've actually seen some preview pages already for this. It looks incredible. Ninjak is like a super spy assassin. And in this series, like, he's thrown into the spotlight. He's been exposed. He's got a target on his back. So I'm really interested to see what this series is.
Think Black Widow, national hero, right?
Yeah, and like I feel like the little bits of Ninjak I have had experience with tend to keep a pretty strong humor element to them. So, and with Jeff Parker on this, like, I think that's very much on this. I mean, Jeff Parker, Batman 66 comics. Jeff Parker did some of Future Quest, didn't he?
I believe so, yes.
Wrote some Aquaman that I really dig. Like, he is around, I think, maybe more than he gets credit for, and really writes some solid stuff.
Yeah.
Javier Pulido, if you haven't read the She-Hulk run with Charles Soule, go ahead and give that a read. And finally, from Vault, the last book we will mention in Solicitations.
Well, it's the last one we need to mention, right?
And that's because it is the last book you'll ever read, #1.
By Colin Bunn.
That #1 kind of undercuts the momentum of the title.
It really does, yes.
The last book you'll read, #5. Also, Final Fantasy 16. The finalist fantasy.
The final fantasy, yes. I do. Yeah, this is going to be have much more of an impact when it's the trade and it's just called the last book you'll ever read, right?
Volume 1.
Yes. This is written by Colin Bunn, which, with a name like that, who else is going to be, right?
Yeah. Well, I believe this is even an adaptation of a novel.
I think so. I believe it is, yeah. And the art on this is Layla Lee's. This is the solicitation for this is a really really cool read. Like, I absolutely think this is phenomenal work for a setup for a story, and it is. There's a person who has written a book called Seder that talks about that's kind of a prophecy of the coming collapse of human civilization. Because of something that's kind of buried, as it describes, buried in our genes. But like, she knows the truth, and she's written this book, and it's now getting blamed for like violence and bloodshed that's happening around the world. And so because of this, her life's in danger, and she hires a bodyguard to protect her. But her one stipulation is that he's not allowed to read the book. So oh, now what? So I mean, just to find out what the hell this book's about, right? That alone is worth the price of entry here, I think. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, this should be really really good.
Yeah, and I think That's everything.
That's July, everybody.
How did we used to do these as part of a regular episode?
Oh my god, very painfully, sir.
Yeah.
Very painfully.
I don't know. I like that we get to take more time with them now. Hopefully people listening at home feel the same way. If not, too bad. We're going to keep doing it like this.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's super easy for folks at home if they're, if they're behind and they want to try to catch up fast. This is something you can probably skim through or skip over, and then but if not, then you could find out what's coming up.
Yeah,
I love it. I like how we're doing it now. Yeah,
I would like to thank Chase Parker for our intro voiceover. We are a member of the Certain POV Network, and if you're looking for other cool podcasts about popular culture, go to certainpov.com. You can visit us at panelologypodcast.com, support us at patreon.com/panelology, get merch at bit.ly/panelologymerch, capital P, capital M, or send us your questions, comments, or whatever at bit.ly/panelologymailbag. Capital P, capital M. I'm Alex.
And I am Brian. Alex, you know what you should do in July?
Go read comics.
Go read comics.
CPOV. CertainPOV.com.